The Early Weigh-In podcast is back. 2 week break from us on my behalf. Welcome to new one, a little new one to the family there. But man, back at it. UFC London, ready to get down to these fights. We got Lerone Murphy versus Movsar Evloev, 19-0, 17-0, number one contender for Volkanovski. Great fight, man. Ready to talk about them. Ready to talk about our favorite spots on the card. Transparency, as always, most important in this line of work. Pretty much a wash from me last time out. Which is kind of frustrating because I hit both my biggest plays, both my 2 unit plays, but the 3 smaller shots, one on Emmett in particular, caused me to go 0.06 units. So super small loss, mainly a wash, but tough sledding this year, man. Needing a big week here soon. How'd you finish up?
Yeah, so very similar. It was my biggest play of the evening, which was Pierre Rodriguez and Elijah Smith both to win. I had 2 units on it at plus 144. That ended up hitting, but the rest of them were small plays that just didn't come through. Ended up minus 0.38. So again, it's just kind of a forgettable week and hoping to catch some fire on these next ones. We start off for the in the featherweight division, Movsar Evloev taking on Lerone Murphy. I got some bias on Evloev. I've got him in the fantasy league. I don't particularly like watching his fights, but I do think that he gets a bad rap. Even though he has, a somewhat boring fight style, he does find himself in precarious situations and then is able to fight his way out of it. But you do know the game plan coming into this one. I know we got a little bit of a wobble on the feet last time out, but I think that he's going to stick to his grappling all 5 rounds if it's his choice. Against Lerone Murphy, I think he's going to find a lot of success, but the issue is that he has to continue that success for 25 minutes, and Lerone Murphy finds a way to find a shot. He's really good about getting back up to his feet. It doesn't look like he's, gassing too bad, even though he carries a lot of muscle. And I just think that it's a matter of Movsar Evloev needs like 25 solid minutes and everything to go his way. And that's not really his thing. He usually has a couple of really sketchy moments. And Lerone, it seems like as the fight continues, he really starts to find his timing. He throws a few things up the middle that I think could be an issue. And so I think it'll be tight butthole this weekend. I've got Evloev to win, but I would not be surprised if Lerone Murphy found that shot up the middle, rocked him, and put him away. If I was playing this, I'd probably play Movsar Evloev by decision or Lerone Murphy KO, nothing in between.
Yeah, I see it pretty similar. I just kind of touched on an intro, man. 19-0, 17-0, you got the draw, but hardly ever do we get to see these fights. So I'm excited for it. You touched on Movsar style a little bit. Given this fight to Lerone in his backyard, it almost feels like they're leaving the doors open for some sketchy judging or something. It just feels like they've done what they could to kind of keep Movsar from the belt. He's 9-0 in the UFC, but 9 decisions. And it's because the style is not appealing to the common fan. And it seems like the UFC kind of cares about that lately, cutting some of these guys. But I kind of see the fight the way you do, man. At the end of the day, we got a really relentless Russian wrestler taking on an Englishman who's given up a shit ton of takedowns throughout his UFC career. And Movsar just got a gas tank that's looks almost unlimited, and the ability to just chain these takedowns together. I feel like it's almost Marab-esque, with so much offense that Murphy's not going to have a lot of time to be getting his own offense off. But you touch about it, Lerone has really good ability to work to his feet, and Movsar's ability to hold guys down really isn't the best. When he gets on top, he doesn't really advance position. He's not looking to deal damage. And so you kind of combine those two things, and over 5 rounds, that's kind of like the only kind of red flag I'm thinking. I feel like he's going to have to work hard. It's 5 rounds. And then you see the visa issues and interviews. Like, he just got to London this week. So it's just a little bit of sketch. I like the decision, which I'll talk about a little bit more, much, much better than laying the 2-1 tag. But on Murphy, dude, when I just watched back his tape this week, whether it's Tukagov, Daniel Santos, Amir Khani all of round 1, Josh Emmett picking him up over his head, even Pico, like, these guys are landing takedowns prior to Murphy finding the success. And I just feel like Movsar has got wrestling of all those guys combined, man. And so what I see on tape, I think is going to play out on Saturday. So I'm with you. Maybe a couple of hairy moments, but my pick's Movsar. Movsar by decision. Co-main event, Luke Riley versus Michael Aswell. It's just kind of a clear push for Luke Riley here. It's only his second UFC fight, but he's another hometown guy, good record. Really fun fighter as well. Looks to finish the fight on the feet. And I just feel like, I feel like Riley's just going to have the bigger moments here. He's a bit more explosive. He sits down on his shots. He's going to have the crowd behind him. I just, at minus 200 something, I've seen this guy hurt. I've seen this guy grappled on the regional scene. So I don't think I'm eager to lay that kind of price tag. But at the same time, I don't really think Michael Aswell has the stopping power to really hurt him, or even has the wrestling to threaten it. So I kind of just see, again, Riley landing the bigger shots, Aswell just being the tougher dude. He's never been finished. He's got a gas tank. I think he's going to be able to handle it. I just feel like, maybe even round 3 is close to 50-50. Maybe it starts to swing Aswell's way. But the first 10 minutes of this fight, I just see Luke Riley landing the bigger shots here, and probably another decision, So I'm going to take Luke Riley by decision. Probably no bet, easy pass for me here.
So I was happy to see Luke Riley in his debut overcome some adversity early on against Bogdangrad. I think that was a good look, but I am super surprised to see him in a co-main event slot in his second fight, even though he is, somewhat of a crowd favorite. I feel like he has kind of like an orthodox Darren Till style, and I'm kind of with you. I think he'll find the bigger shots. It's just he's very cerebral when picking his shot selection. Whereas Michael Aswell, he really needs to get in close to really have any success offensively. I think he's going to be quite a bit slower, but he does have durability on his side. So I do think whenever we're talking about this getting to the later rounds, the fight goes the distance at minus 124 is certainly how I'd play this fight before I tried to pick a side by laying juice on Luke Riley or hoping that Michael Aswell has some success in the later rounds. Give me that fight goes the distance at minus 124 as the play for this, but I do think it sees the judges' scorecards. I think Aswell's chin holds up, though.
Yeah.
What is your fight of the night?
I took Curtis Campbell and Danny Silva.
Cool. My fight of the night is Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson, man. I think a lot of people are counting out Patterson here under, not what am I trying to say? They're selling him short for his grappling. His grappling is actually much better than people give him credit for. Yeah. Michael Venom Page, and on top of that, I think size-wise, he matches up really well with Michael Venom Page, I think early on the feed, if Patterson tries to strike with him, he's going to be in a lot of trouble because of the entries that Michael Page has. I think people just underestimate how awkward his fight style is and how quickly he can close the distance, and that can get Sam in trouble if he does try to strike with him, even for any amount of extended time. But if he gets this fight even up against the cage, I think that he's going to find a lot of success and maybe even find the finish. If he doesn't, I think that there's a lot of potential for him to ride out some minutes on the mat and ultimately get the nod on the judges' scorecards if it does go to decision. So I kind of like Sam Patterson as an underdog here. And on top of everything, Michael's 38, 39 years old. Eventually, the young dogs are going to start coming up and beating him. And I just think if Patterson can get to the same positions that Ian Gary got to, Patterson's much more likely to get the finish. So I like the dog shot here, but I also think that this is going to be an excellent fight because if Patterson doesn't get to those positions, he's going to get slept. And so we're in for an awesome fight of the night here, I think.
Love that one. Yeah, Curtis Campbell versus Danny Silva for me. A lot of people excited for Saturday, ready to see the debut of the Pink Panther. I have to admit, dude, Dana White's Contender Series, good showing from him, man. Looked very impressive. I love the style. And this week, dudes went from minus 165 to sitting at minus 245 right now. So a lot of love on the Campbell side. Comes from the Patty camp. I actually think he's a pretty intelligent fighter. Like, he knows how to use the pace and the grappling to wear guys out. When he's on top, he looks to do damage. Gas tank looks all right. I think it's a style that's really good and suited for MMA. I don't know if I think he just lacks some of the physicality, man, some of the athleticism, some of the strength to, to do this at the highest level. I don't personally think I've seen him beat anybody that makes me think he's warranted of almost minus 250 here. So, UFC debut, Danny Silva is an absolute dog. I mean, you're talking about, prior to the Evloev fight, this guy's 3-0 in the UFC, dude. I know the competition is not really the greatest, but I look back at it and like Kulabau and Pacheco were notoriously durable guys. I don't know if they've ever been finished before, so I don't really give him a lot of knock for not finishing those fights. And I think he's got legitimate cardio. He's the far better boxer here. I know Curtis Campbell's never been finished, but I think I'm all right to say that I think Danny Silva's got elite durability. He's the more durable of the two here. And what kind of, I don't want to say shocked me a little bit, but going back and watching his fights, he's landed a takedown in his last, or, his contender series fight and all 3 UFC fights so far. So I think he has the ability to go out there and wrestle some of his own as well. And heaven forbid he come out here and stuff some of these takedowns early, get his confidence up, get Campbell to question himself a little bit. I think he's going to box this dude up down the stretch. I'm going to go against the public, dude. I like Danny Silva here. He's a clear value side for me. I'm just keeping an eye on this line, dude, because I think I'm going to get plus 215, plus 220 by the time these fights start tomorrow. So I love this fight. I think it's a dog fight. I like Danny Silva at plus 220 or plus north of plus 200. I like his round 3 decision sitting at plus 350, plus 360. I like the Danny Silva side in this fight. I'm super excited for this one.
And then our next category is
Underdog.
And so I think I was kind of leaning towards the Danny Silva side, so don't be surprised if we're both picking him. But ultimately, I'm going to side with Axel Sola. We both have talked about him as well in the week, and he just continues to climb on the money line side, and it's just getting almost too good to pass up. Mason Jones, I think he's going to have to wrestle quite a bit to have success here. Yeah. Sola, I think on the feet, he's going to be able to piece him up, and Mason Jones just doesn't wear damage very well. I think in a perfect world, Axel's going to be mixing in some of his wrestling as well. But against Mason Jones, I just think that that's not going to be successful. So I'm a little bit hesitant, and I think that that's probably why the line isn't a little closer to even money or even on the Axel side, is because one of his best weapons being wrestling is going to kind of be negated with the wrestling prowess of Mason Jones. But outside of that, on the feet, I do think that he has the edge. And as long as he can keep it on the feet, I think that he has a really good shot of, one, knocking Mason Jones out, because that's kind of always on the table, but two, just doing enough damage while it is on the feet to win in the judges' eyes as well. So we're getting a better line every single day on Axel Sola. And so I'm thinking that we're both kind of seeing it the same way.
Yeah. I've already bet Axel Sola, and man, if that line continues to climb, I'm super tempted to drop another half unit. I'm already seeing 20 points better than what I've bet. So yeah, I like Axel Sola a lot this week. Underdog for me, Nathaniel Wood, man, I'm getting killed. I bet this guy at plus 195, and he's sitting at plus 225 as of now, man. A lot of love have come on the Kieta side since weigh-ins. But first off, dude, just a great fight. It's twice now Kieta's been booked against a vet, so I think it shows what the UFC thinks of him and how highly they think of him. But in short, dude, I think he's kind of drawn to an early KO. He's not a guy who's known for his volume, not, down the stretch. He's more of these one-hit finisher type of guys. And early on, I expect him to carry the power, to be faster, but I expect that to fade, man. Wood's a technician at range. He really knows how to use his range, good on the pocket. He's got the far better cardio. I mean, the wrestling and grappling difference here is just night and day. It could take a slip, slipping on a kick or something. I think if Wood gets this fight down, I mean, the round might be over. I think he could get to super advantageous positions. Outside of that Naimov fight, where he's kicking Wood in the balls, grabbing the cage, everything in Abu Dhabi, like, Wood could be looking at a 6-fight winning streak right now. Like, he's in great form. He's looking the best of his career. I don't know, man. He's in his hometown like this. He's from London. He might get the biggest pop all night of anybody in the crowd. And north of plus 200, it's an easy bet for me, man. I feel like I've got the more complete fighter with more paths to win. He's the only one winning by submission. I feel like his decision equity is so much higher. And if Keita doesn't KO him early, dude, he's so live here, man. So I'm already a unit deep at plus 195 and seeing plus 225, just like Axel Sola, man. I might trust my gut and drop another half unit there. What you got for parlay leg?
So for my parlay leg, I'm going to be taking the over 2.5 rounds in the Danny Silva Curtis Campbell fight.
Yeah.
I don't see a world where Danny Silva is getting finished here, and I see a lot of opportunity for him to honestly get screwed on the judges' scorecards. So
Yeah.
the biggest thing that's holding me back from just unloading on Danny Silva is the fact that he might not do enough, and especially it being in London, I could see him getting screwed out of a decision. So I do think that this goes to the judges' scorecards, like, I don't know, 80% of the time. And we're getting minus 176 on the over 2.5 rounds. You can get minus 146 for fight goes the distance. And I think that both of those are solid plays, especially if you want to put it in a parlay.
I like it, man. For me, I just chose one of the legs of the parlay I tipped earlier in the week. I'm going to take Contra Tavicius and Tricoli under 1.5. I think I took it at minus 270, but it's actually down to minus 250. Just feel like, dude, one of these guys is on the way up and one of these guys is on the way out. You know, Montes is 26 years old, improving on the daily. Like, this guy's coming into the UFC with some of the best kickboxing we're going to see in the UFC. I think his skills on the feet are legit. Sniping right hand, ribs to the body. UFC knows what they're doing here, man. Tricoli, rather be sitting at the poker table than in the octagon on Saturday. It just, you know, this is his 4th fight on his contract. He's lost previous 3. It's probably the last one, and they're using him to get his prospect to win. So I think the skill level on the feet is just night and day. I think he can really hurt Tricoli, but I think the first body shot he lands, Tricoli's just going to fold up and get out of there and find the nearest casino he can go sit down at the table. So I like Mantis and Tricoli under 1.5 here. Best bet.
My best bet. This is odd because it's a big number, but I will be playing it for at least a unit. Plus 260 on the over 1.5 rounds and the Baranovsky versus Austin Lane fight. And I know that's tough right there, but I just think that Baranovsky, because of his last fight, he's kind of getting he got too much attention, and everybody thinks that all of them are going to be just absolute barn burners. And I think that Austin Lane's kind of getting overlooked right here. You know, I'm not really sure outside of Baranovsky getting just a first round KO against a much larger guy. As long as Lane made weight today, so I mean, as long as he's even a quarter of himself, I think that Baranovsky's going to have a little bit of trouble with him early. And I think that there's potential for Lane to, at least in that first round, just lay on top of him. So 1, I don't think that Baranovsky's going to cover that price tag. And 2, I think that there's a really good shot that we see the over in this fight, where people are just guaranteeing that it's going to be a slugfest right off the bat. So it's my best bet, not because I know it's going to hit, but because of the number. Plus 260 on something that I really see going into the late second round, or even go into the judges' scorecards, I think is a number that I just can't pass up. So that is my best bet.
So let me tell you something about that fight that I noticed earlier when I was looking at it. Let me see if it's still here. So, never mind. It's been hit. But I was looking at the over 0.5 rounds, you know, and it was actually a decently playable number earlier.
Was it plus money?
It wasn't plus money, but it was just, it was like, man, I only have to get 2.5 minutes in a fight. I felt like it was the most generous number I've ever seen on a fight for 2.5 minutes. You know, if you hit that, big brain play. You kind of hinted to it when you're breaking down the main event, man. My best bet is Evloev by decision, minus 115, minus 110 out there on some books. There's a first for everything, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see a finish here, man. You know, not only is it just high-level guys who neither one have even had a professional loss, it's high-level featherweights, man. You know, we got the big cage as well. Evloev doesn't have a UFC finish. Larone's never been finished, and I think I've seen Larone in worse positions than Mobzar's going to put him in, and he's fought it out. You know, I've seen him cracked by Ige, hurt, wobbled, still throwing against the fence, then turning around, landing his own takedown. He was honestly pretty intelligent for being as hurt as he was. And then being taken down by Daniel Santos in some of those positions, like, I feel like he had way better chance to take the back and get in positions to threaten a submission than Mobzar really will. So I think it's just kind of like Mobzar's fight, man. I think maybe Larone has a moment or two, but it's just going to be rinse and repeat on takedowns for 25 minutes and control time racked up. So I like Mobzar by decision. I think that honestly should be closer to 60%. So Evloev by decision, if you can get that minus 110, minus 115, that's my best bet this week. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Sorry about the break, but we are back on the run as always. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
We're gonna run through these quick picks real quick.
Oh, quick picks. Forgot about that section. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. All right, starting it off, Chanel Dyer versus Ravina Oliveira. I want Dyer to get the finish. I'm just not sure it's going to happen. I think Ravina's biggest Achilles heel is in her grappling, and Chanel Dyer just hasn't shown that yet. So give me Dyer by decision.
Yeah, dude, for his girl that prides herself on the striking, she gets hurt way too much for my liking. I'd never play her at this number, but she's fun. I like her. I think she's going to win here. Super controversial fight, man. Lines flipped as well. Shamrock taking on Al Swati. Shamrock's now a favorite. I don't know. He walked up and pushed Al Swati at weigh-ins. I don't really know what I think about this fight, man. I will say I don't really think Shamrock should be minus 130 and approach a minus 150 favorite. Al Swati minus a chin has a decent process to his game, so I'll go against the grain. Give me Al Swati.
No, I'm actually sticking with the public on this one. I like Shamrock. I think that he is the rightful favorite. Yeah, not a big fan of Al Sawadi's game, to be honest with you. I'll take Shamrock. Louis Sutherland versus Brandon Pericic. Or Brando Pericic. I'm on Brando's side. I got him in the in the fantasy league, and also Louis Sutherland just hasn't looked like physically himself since entering the UFC. Give me Brando here, and possibly a slot fest, but I think he'll do enough to get it done.
I think Brando's so much better of a striker here. If he just kept this at range, he could pick this guy apart. And honestly, I think he's a better grappler too. I'm on Brando. Tricoli, Controversious round one for me. Under 1.5 my parlay leg.
I'll go with Controversious as well. Mario Pinto versus Felipe Franco. I like Mario Pinto, and honestly, seeing a little bit of his grappling chops, I'm thinking that he has a pretty good chance of making it into like the top 10 of the division. Give me Mario Pinto here.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. I honestly think this is maybe shouldn't have been booked, dude. This is a legit heavyweight versus a light heavyweight. Mario Pinto hopefully gets him out of there in round one. Nathaniel Wood versus Lucien Keita. Dude, this is a hell of a fight. This is where the card really starts to get good, in my opinion. I'm on the Nathaniel Wood side at plus 225, man. He's just such a good, complete fighter. And Lucien Keita just, to me, is drawing dead to a KO. So give me Wood.
I'm on the Keita side. I'm kind of looking at the under in this fight. I feel like maybe you as well have been hitting the unders in the Wood fights, and he just keeps on slipping through the cracks. And I think that this is finally the guy who's going to catch him. So I'm on the under here. I'm on the Keita side. Mason Jones versus Axel Sola. I'm on the Axel Sola side. I think he's just going to do enough. Judges are going to see it the same. The damage is going to be worn all on the Mason Jones side. They're going to give Sola the nod.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mason Jones' grappling is a little bit better, but dude, Mason Jones, Reese McKee, same type fighter, dude. I don't know. Axel Sola looked good at 170 last time out. Now he's at his weight class of 155. It still looks huge on the scale. Yeah, plus 125. Give me Axel Sola. Kicking off the main card, Curtis Campbell, Danny Silva. Already broke this one down in depth. You boys are on the dog, Danny Silva, this week.
I'm on Danny Silva, but I know my heart's going to be broken when those judges are reading the scorecards. Roman Dolidze versus Christian Leroy Duncan. I like Leroy Duncan here, man. I think that Roman Dolidze, at this point in his career, it's just going to be downhill from here. And Leroy, he moves like I want a 185er to move. So yeah, I think he's going to be able to get this one done probably by judges' scorecards because Roman is tough, but I wouldn't be surprised with a late finish.
Right. Yeah, dude. I think the sky's the limit for Christian Leroy Duncan. It's just about it. He puts it together on fight night. Dude's got all the tools to be a top middleweight in the world. I think he gets the job done. Iwo Baranowski, Austin Lane. That's just a tricky ass fight, man. That height difference and everything. Iwo's just gotten 2 early KOs, and you haven't seen him late. Haven't seen his grappling tested. I don't know, man. I'm on the Iwo side just because I really do think he only has to land one. But I would not touch this fight. I'm not touching the under. I'm not touching this price tag, nothing. And to hear you talk about the over makes me even happier I didn't touch this one.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think that one of these lines are wrong, whether it be the over-under or the Iwo Baranovsky side. I think that one of those hit. So I like either lane or the over. I'm going with the over. But I just don't see Baranovsky covering that price tag. Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson. I'm on the Sam Patterson side. I think the grappling is going to be the difference maker. I just hope that he knows that too going into this fight.
I think I'm on the Sam Patterson side as well. I was watching some of their interviews, and Page was talking about, bouncing to 170, 185, not really getting the fights he wants in the UFC, and didn't really like this matchmaking. And Sam Patterson seemed to kind of like it. So I like the confidence. I'll take Sam Patterson as well. Co-main event, we went into this one in depth. I like Luke Riley by decision.
Yes, I agree. Luke Riley by decision. I think he's just going to land the bigger shots. And then the main event, Movsar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy. I'm going to take Movsar Evloev and just pray he doesn't get caught in those 25 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think he will, man. We talked about that one. It's also my best bet. Movsar by decision. We already heard the outro. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, like, subscribe. And as always, we'll be back next week. We'll see y'all.